Hi, this is a response to a video by Sisyphus Redeemed. Sisyphus Redeemed's video is itself a response to a discussion that's been going on between DOS American Atheist and Mig Killer 2 regarding the Kalem cosmological argument for the existence of God as given by Dr. William Lane Craig. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is explain exactly why DOS American Atheist and Sisyphus Redeemed think the objection works. And so what I'm hoping is that those two guys are going to be my conscience on this, and in the comments below the video that they're going to respond if I catch something wrong. That's what I'm going to hope that they're doing. That they'll be alive to what I'm doing, and they'll keep me from straw manning them. That way everyone knows that I'm on the level and I've explained everything properly and I understand all the issues that are going on. That's going to be this video. I'm going to make a second video after that that's going to knock them both out of the water, but never mind. Right now we just want to get clear about what they're arguing and why. Okay, so Dr. William Lane Craig's argument is exactly the following. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist. The universe has a cause. That's the argument. Very simple. And right here, that's what DOS American Atheist wants to resist. He wants to resist premise 2. Okay? So, the way he does that is to say the universe didn't begin to exist because nothing has ever begun to exist. There isn't anything that's ever done the beginning of existing. That's never happened. Okay, nothing like that has ever occurred. Now, the view that he uses to get that idea off the ground is a view called atomism. Now, Sisyphus Redeemed in the video that I'm making now is a response to, Sisyphus Redeemed does a really great job of explaining what atomism is. But just as a recap, just so everyone knows exactly what's on the table, according to atomism, this right here, this isn't a thing. This is a collection of fundamental particles that we call lid. And this is what we do with it. That's it. So this isn't its own. This, that thing. That's not a thing. That is merely a collection of fundamental particles, and we name this arrangement of fundamental particles. We name that lid. The same is true with this. This is a fundamental particle arrangement. That's all this is. Nothing else. Nothing else here. This right here is just fundamental particles arranged in a way that we call foam. This is just fundamental particles arranged in a way that we call book. That's all that this is. Nothing else here. There's nothing special about this. This is just, we call this book because that's the name of this particular arrangement of particles. Same with this. Same with this. That's all that is. There's nothing new. So, you could think about it like you take a ball of Play-Doh, you roll it to a ball, you take a rolling pin, you do that with it, and you flatten it out. There's nothing new there, according to the atomist. According to the atomist, I'm taking a ball of Play-Doh and rolling it out and flattening it doesn't add anything to the furniture of reality. There's nothing added to the furniture of reality by flattening a ball of Play-Doh. Just like there's nothing added to the furniture of reality by the rising of a mountain. That's just a new particle arrangement. That's all that is. There's nothing new there. It's just a different arrangement of particles that we call mountain. Well, the same happens in their view to be true of the universe. Even if the universe hasn't been around forever, so what? Nothing is new in there that wasn't there before. All the particles were already there. There's nothing added to the furniture of reality when there's a universe. That's just a new arrangement of the fundamental particles. And what that means is that if they're correct about this, if everything in the universe can be accounted for in terms of the arrangement of the fundamental particles, that means this. Dr. Craig says things begin to exist by coming into being. Das American Atheist says, false, Dr. Craig. Things begin to exist by being assembled. Think of the difference there. One talks about coming into being, and the other talks about assemblage. The other talks about the positions of particles. So you could think about it like this. Suppose I have a living room, and I add a couch. That would be like what Dr. Craig is arguing. You've got a new thing there. You've got a new thing on the scene there. Das American Atheist says, no, you don't. You never get new couches. All that happens in the living room is that the couches that are already there get moved around. So you picture a living room full of couches and you move them around. That's it. There's no new couches that are ever added. Nothing ever comes in. There's nothing added to the furniture of the living room, and there's nothing added to the furniture of reality. That's what he thinks is true. And because of that, because when William Lane Craig says the universe began to exist, William Lane Craig is talking about things coming into being, Das American Atheist says, no, not like that. The mountain didn't come into being. The particles were rearranged in a new way. That's all that's happened. So, to be clear, we'll put this into symbolic form. I hope you guys can read this all. C is the property of having a cause, so C means has a cause. B is the property of beginning to exist, so B equals began to exist. Z is the universe. X is a variable that can be swapped out for anything. And the inverted A of X means for all X, and the reverse E of X means there exists at least one. So, Dr. Craig's argument in symbolic form is, for all X, if X has the property B of beginning to exist, then it follows that X has the property C of having a cause. And then he goes, okay, premise 2 is, the universe, Z, began to exist. So then, using logic, he says, well, if the universe began to exist, that means, logically implies, that the universe has a cause. Okay? So then he says, okay, so if that's true, the universe began to exist and the universe has a cause, and he says, look, the universe did begin to exist, therefore, we get this right here, the universe has a cause. Now, in logical terms, we have a thing called existential generalization. That means if there exists one thing, then we can say that. So think of it like this. If the universe began to exist, then we could existentially generalize and say there exists at least one X such that X has the property of beginning to exist. Right? It's clear? And what Das American Atheist is saying is false. There does not exist, that's a negation symbol there, anything that began to exist. There does not exist an X such that X began to exist. That's false, according to Das American Atheist. Das American Atheist, see, the implication of William Lane Craig's argument is that something began to exist. And Das American Atheist is saying, no, false. Nothing began to exist the way Dr. Craig says that things begin to exist. Nothing began to exist. All that happens is that there's new particle arrangements. The particles are always just moving around, and every once in a while we get a particular arrangement of particles that we say universe. That's what we call that. And so that's Das American Atheist's argument. So when we go back and look at Dr. Craig's argument, Dr. Craig says everything that begins to exist has a cause. That's what he says. Everything that begins to exist has a cause. And Das American Atheist would say, well, congratulations, Dr. Craig, that's good for you. Too bad there ain't anything that began to exist. There isn't anything like that. So who cares if it's true that if something begins to exist, it's got a cause? Because nothing begins to exist. All there is the moving around of particles, and that's all. So premise 2 is false, because nothing began to exist. Okay? That's what they're up to, McKiller 2. Now we're going to show you in the next video why that's flawed, but I want you to feel the force of the argument here, understand why they're doing what they do and what they think it gets them. It doesn't get them what they think it does, but they think they can use atomism to knock Dr. Craig out. And you have to be thinking about what they're arguing. Alright. So now the next video, part 2, I'm going to explain why Das American Atheist and Sisyphus Redeemed are wrong. They're defeated.